there are a lot of kids in their 20s there, and the general feeling in discussion was very much there was a winning side, let's just say. But I wanted to talk about Amfest, and it was great. And this is going back now to December 18th, I think, and it was my second Amfest, and it was a really fascinating event. So if you don't know, Turning Point USA holds this thing right before Christmas every year. It's all young people. It's been getting bigger and bigger. I heard that this one was 30,000 people, and I don't know if that's true, but I believe it. And I took some pictures, and we can look. I just thought it'd be fun to chat about Amfest if you haven't seen from inside. They invited me, and they invite a lot of I guess I'm an influencer. I don't know. They invite a lot of people, and they give me a free hotel and pass to the VIP lounge. But the VIP lounge was people that paid for VIP tickets so that they could it was like a VIP petting zoo. So I was the product, you know what I mean? Which I don't care. I talk to people. It was fun. I actually signed my first autograph ever, which was weird. I didn't even know what to write. It's kind of strange. This was the main floor, and there were speakers, but the best part of Amfest is not going and listening to the speakers. There you'll see some weird stuff. There was the first night was Ben Shapiro and Tucker Carlson. And so it's that's how they started. And that's not me setting those up. It's them. And you had this whole thing hang over the entire event. And so I thought there was a potential for it to be dramatic or hostile. There was none of that at all. But it was just right out of the gate, they're all right, let's rip the Band-Aid off and throw and mash Tucker Carlson and Ben Shapiro at each other. I didn't hear either speech. I heard critiques of both. I heard more critiques of Ben Shapiro's. And but then there were some others. The most interesting thing is that I talked to people at the Heritage Foundation, and I was actually really impressed. And I worked the floor. I went and talked to John Birch Society. I went to talk to all these people. And then Kevin Roberts, the guy they've been trying to pull down out of the head of Heritage Foundation, in his speech actually said the word corporatism. And I can't underemphasize how unbelievably insane that is. That is a core Republican think tank, traditional conservatism, traditional big business, free market, trickle down conservatism, talking about corporatism. That's a really, really big deal. He's talking about corporatism more than Trump is. And what is MAGA? Trump's a deal maker, and deal makers work with corporations. And I almost wonder if this isn't kind of I hate to say weakness, but and I'm not saying it's I'm trying to detract from Trump. But what I'm saying is if you're a leader and you have a really tough job, and there's aspects of you that aren't a fit. This happens all the time. I know I'm not a very super detail-oriented guy when it comes to planning out a project and ticking off how long everything's going to take. I hate that. Why would I do that? I would delegate that. And so for Trump, he likes making deals with business, and that worked in 2016. But when these companies are screwing over America, you have to be more hostile to it. Now that he has been more hostile to him now, which is one of the biggest changes. I said to Susie, you can't be the oligarchy. You got to fight the oligarchy. And just in the last 2 days, I'm starting to see that. That's pretty crazy. But he could delegate this. Scott Bessent can be the guy that goes around and slaps all these CEOs in the face. I also thought it was interesting. You might I just took a quick panorama to give you an idea about how absolutely insane and large the general floor is. And so we'll just sit back and take a look. I do a 360 here, and it just keeps going and going. Every single person walked out to pyrotechnics. You can see how far back, if I pause it, how far back it goes. That's a lot of people. I don't know how many thousands of people, and it was never full, but 4,000, 5,000, 6,000 people probably seated in this one room. And that's wall to wall speakers. So now I went and mostly hung out with John Fawcett, friend of this channel. Everybody loves John. And then also I spent a lot of time with Rich Barris. I met his wife. Laura for the first time. It was pretty cool. But going back to the pictures, I stayed at the Biltmore this year. This is where they put the influencers. It was nice, but it was like 20 minutes away from actual downtown. So it was not the best scene. You couldn't really hang out with people. So I mostly just stayed out on the town till 2 a.m. And actually, John was out till 4. He's an animal. These Zoomers. I thought this was funny. This was on the general floor. The American Beverage Association actually had a stand. They were there doing damage control because of the way they got caught lying to Republicans in order to try and keep soda in SNAP. It was pretty funny. So I thought I had to take a picture. I didn't have the balls to talk to him. I think that would have been hilarious, but I should have anyways. And then we have, I did a whole bunch of interviews. She used to, what was her name? Amy Dangerfield used to be with the PBD podcast. I did maybe 10 or 12 interviews there on Media Row. It was kind of cool. So then I took this picture here and I posted it on Twitter, and it was like the second biggest tweet I ever had in my life. All I said was "seen at Amfest." Ben Shapiro's. So this was kind of funny though, is that there are a lot of kids in their 20s there, and the general feeling in discussion was very much there was a winning side, let's just say, and the straw poll that Rich did shows that. I don't have it. We could pull it up some other time, but the straw poll basically showed, again, not an anti-Israeli sentiment, but this idea that it's like, okay, we're putting America first. Here's John interviewing Kyle Rittenhouse. Kyle Rittenhouse was walking around with his dog. It's kind of interesting. I saw a lot of people there. The party scene was not as fun as it used to be. So with more and more people there was a lot of the influencers were leaning towards younger Instagram people. Like last year was a lot of YouTube and Twitter. This year it was almost all Instagram. And I think it's because they changed the person responsible for inviting people. I really do. And it's like, okay, we got an Instagram person instead of a Twitter person. And I talked to all these people and like, oh, I don't have Twitter. I'm like, oh, I'm on Instagram. So now I have an Instagram account. And so I'm trying to grow that. But yeah, there's Alex Stein. This is at James O'Keefe's DJ rave that he has every year. This is the same party that last year Laura Loomer cornered Milo Yiannopoulos when he was drunk and got that video of him. I don't know what it did to Rich's face, but we took a lot of pictures with people. This is at the same party. This is this gives you an idea of what there. Yeah. So I don't know, they had paid dancers going for 2 hours. It was weird. This was the Amfest influencer party. So there was this. Then there was one held by Influenceable. I met the people responsible for this. Is funny. Influenceable is the company that pays online influencers. I don't take any money from these people. But remember back when everybody was shilling for Big Soda and everybody got caught taking a check from Influenceable? Well, I talked to one of the guys there that deals with all of these campaigns. And he said, listen, the way it works is every single one of us at the company gets a veto on the campaign. And the Soda Influenceable campaign had been vetoed. And then it was an accident, apparently, that people got paid in order to post for Big Soda. This is the one where Eric Doherty got caught and a bunch of other people like that. I think maybe Clown World. I'm trying to remember who all got caught. And it's yeah, they took a check to shill for a big corporation. And those people had a big party. And I went. And it was all 25-year-old Instagram people. So anyways, we did a panel. It was me and Rich, Josh Lysek, and Jack Posobiec. It was really good. I was a little late because I was out at the freaking Biltmore and stuck out there. But the demise of performative politics, I said death of performative politics, and I think they changed the words. But that's my whole thing right now, is that Republicans, it's over. Performative politics doesn't work. People will see through it. The egg prices, they don't care about the egg prices. because they don't have jobs and they can't buy houses. And people are smart enough to know when their hierarchy of needs is being met. And right now we've gotten to the point where it isn't. And, here's the picture again, me, Rich, and Josh. There's another one with Jack. I don't know what happened to it. But if you want to see the panel, it's there. We can watch a snippet quick because I was pretty proud of my performance. I came out of the gate pretty hot, not going to lie. But if you don't know, we have 2 channels now. So the main channel that you're watching this on now is where we do our live streams. And it's where I'll put out about maybe 2 to 3 standalone videos a week where we deep dive into the crosstabs. And then this is like, okay, interview hits and shorts and stuff that I'm posting to Instagram. But it is new content that's different than my main channel in many cases too. So this is going to be like, I just did an interview with Sean Spicer. There will be a clip on there. Brianna, there'll be a clip on there if I go on InfoWars. But this is where, oh, look, he made an AI sad face for me. This is where Jonas J. Campbell's helping us out with this, which is super cool. He's a really great helper. Has been doing better thumbnails than me. And this is the video specifically of the panel at Amfest. And it's worth a watch, but, I'll just give you a couple of minutes here. Well, they need, in my opinion, like a Manhattan Project in order to get the Republican rotted husk across the finish line in only 315 days or whatever it is from now. And so
I told you he was going to be Spice, Bosie. I told you he was going to bring the heat.
Yeah. Jack was
and ladies and gentlemen, speaking of black pillars, Mark Mitchell.
See, everybody calls me a black pillar. I'm just trying to help America.
Has found his way to join us. Rich, if you mind sharing the mic there with Mark. So Mark, we've been going through, I'm sure you already know the conversation we've been having, performance versus action. Talk to us. Now, we know that you were, and in the Washington Post reported that you had a conversation in the White House with President Trump in the Oval Office. You talked about a little bit about that with them. You talked about it on your show. What was the presentation that you made to the president there regarding this very issue?
So his approval rating is not terrible. I don't think that's the problem. I don't think that's the polling to look at anymore. Really, I think the problem is Republicans are going to lose. Like right now, you look at the polling, it's not going to look too good a year from now. And so how do you prevent this historic pattern of statistically, it just happens, the pendulum swings back? Well, they need, in my opinion, like a Manhattan Project in order to get the Republican rotted husk across the finish line in only 315 days or whatever it is from now. And so
I told you he was going to be Spice, Bosie. I told you he was going to bring the heat.
And how do you even do that? You have to lay out a plan. It's like, hey, we know we can't fix the problems that are bigger. I mean, the real number that I've been tracking is that only 27% of America thinks that today's children, like mostly you, will be better off than your parents. And that's horrifying. And that's way different than in 2016. So this is a different America than the first time Trump won. And I think that they need to acknowledge how bad the actual problems are. They're systemic. And so you're not going to be able to fix that between now and November of 2026. So lay out a plan and show Americans that, hey, we're going down the path to the golden age. It's not here yet.
No, I would even.
So it was cool. I mean, that was not much different than some of the stuff that I've said before on this stream and that I said in the White House. But what surprised me is that, I do these streams, people comment, I get likes, but it's still hard to know like how much it's really resonating with people. I say stuff on Twitter and the stuff that goes viral is just like wild, retarded stuff. And my good takes don't really, take off in my opinion. But here it was a standing room only crowd of 1,000 people. They were almost all under 30. And I was surprised at how they were resonating with the things I said. And there was, and Jack's great. I'm not beating him up here, but Jack was talking about Bidenflation. And I said, yeah, Bidenflation was bad, but it was like a cherry on top of decades of economic wreckage that have been given to us by both parties. And everybody cheered at that. And I said, because to be very specific, the Biden border invasion didn't affect my career as much as George H.W.'s Immigration Act of 1990. And I swear, I almost got a standing ovation when I said that. And so these people are smart. They know that their system has been stolen and corrupted. And I don't think they love Jack. You know, he had to sign more autographs than me for sure. But like when he's out there pounding the podium and saying Biden, 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 it's like, yeah, obviously Trump should blame Biden for these problems. But when you do that, it's performative because people know that it's the corporations, it's the uniparty, it's the deep state. And Trump knew that. He ran on draining the swamp and he called out Republicans. And he's still fighting Republicans, but he's fighting Republicans that won't stand lockstep on establishment things, which is kind of wild. You know what I mean? Like he's attacking the people that were anti one big beautiful bill because it didn't cut enough.